Michigan beats Ohio State 73-65. I was going through it in this one. I tweeted before the game that, if Ohio State loses this game, they're fraudulent. Ohio State, kind of fraudulent. At the very least. I don't know. I know that I'm going through it a little bit more. I'm sure Brant has other thoughts and might be a little bit brighter. The hardest part with me in this one is, and I've expressed this before on the podcast, a coach like Chris Holtmann, I think Chris Holtmann is great. I think that Chris Holtmann is great off the court, and I am rooting so hard for Chris Holtmann because there are so many fans in the fan base who are against him. And even I myself am thinking to myself, is it time to move on or anything like that? But it's also in the portal era, it's like, if you move on, then you could lose half of your roster. Who knows? Bruce Thornton going to go somewhere? Is Felix Okpara going to go somewhere? It's so hard to decide. And at the end of the day, I just want Chris Holtmann to succeed so bad because, like I said, he is fantastic off the court, and he's a grade A personality kind of guy. And so for me in this one, it's like you lose not only on the road, but you lose to the worst team in the Big Ten. You lose to Michigan, arch rival. Brant, I'm obviously going through it a little bit. Are you taking this loss as hard as I am? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's not an easy one to swallow, but at the same time, I think we have to take it with a bit of a grain of salt just because, it's a road game in the Big Ten. Yep. Where you can't go on the road in the Big Ten and expect to win against anyone, even the worst team. I know it's probably should have won, and one that can really, really hurt us when it comes to Selection Sunday. But you just really, and especially with what we saw last season, it's hard for Ohio State fans to swallow this one. Having that, hot start, the team looks solid, and then you hit Big Ten play, you win a few games, January rolls around, and you just start to crumble. And that's kind of, I think all Ohio State fans are kind of seeing that right now. So no one's optimistic about it right now. There's a lot of hate on Twitter and all over the place for Chris Holtmann. And like you said, I'm cheering for him big time. He's had success here. He's had teams that have been, he's had a 2-seed team. He's had teams that are ranked pretty high, teams that really do well in the Big Ten and finish top 4 in the Big Ten. He's been here for, I want to say 7-8 years. I don't have the number off the top of my head. Yeah, but at the end of the day, if you crumble again, like this season, like you saw last season, he's not going to survive, and he's going to lose his job. But that could ultimately be worse for Ohio State because you're probably going to lose a lot of that roster in the portal, and it's going to take a bit of rebuilding to get it back to relevant. But at the same time, I don't know. It's a tough decision. But I don't want to put it all on Chris Holtmann. He's the guy who's kind of leading the charge for this team, so he's the one who takes the most heat. But at the end of the day, these guys went on the road and they shot 3 for 25 from 3. They were taking bad shots. They were giving Michigan every shot. I mean, Terrance Williams couldn't miss because he was wide open the entire game. And just ask Michigan fans how they feel about Terrance Williams. That they're not his biggest fan, but he absolutely lit our defense up. So I think there's a lot to be said about kind of the players playing the game as well. Guys are just cold right now, and they really need to start shooting the ball well, or the season's gonna get away from them.
Yeah, and at a certain point, I remember vividly the huddle back when Ohio State, who'd they play 2 games ago? It was when this was IU. When they played at IU, I remember Chris Holtmann saying to his guys, hey, you guys are going to start hitting shots. Keep shooting. The shots are going to come. You guys are great shooters. Keep shooting. And at a certain point, I'm like, I love that he has faith in his guys and he doesn't, panic and change things, because sometimes we've seen that before where he panics and changes things, and what he changes it to doesn't go as well. But I think this is a team that Chris Holtmann really, really believes in. He believes hard in Roddy Gale and in Bruce Thornton. He believes in Felix Okpara, not just as a defender, but also as a scorer and a rebounder. And it's evident in that. And so it's hard, I think, for him to say, that this is not going well. We're going to completely overhaul this in the middle of the game. When he's seen it in practice, where he's seen it, I mean, Bruce Thornton said after the game, he's like, we watch a lot of film. We practice really hard. We do a good job. And then unfortunately, right now in games, it's not showing up. And I think if the losing streak last year didn't happen, I think fans might be a little bit more understanding. But unfortunately, that's taking a huge toll on it. So Dakota, you have the outside perspective here from us Buckeye fans. And feel free to comment as well as Michigan. I don't want to make this only an Ohio State thing, but what are your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, this was a weird one to watch. I mean, Michigan obviously having whatever kind of year you could say they're having off the court. That has kind of started to bleed a little bit onto the court, really. But in this one, it was an odd game where I kind of just always kept expecting Ohio State to kind of get going. Obviously, Michigan playing at home. I think this is, restarting Big Ten play, coming back after the break. Obviously, they're blessed by having Doug McDaniel be able to play in this game because it's a home game. It was very odd. And I think I put this on Twitter during the game, and I was like, it was such an odd feeling watching two programs in basketball like Michigan and Ohio State just kind of look like this. Like, it was a good game as a neutral. I did expect Ohio State to win this game. Michigan has looked like kind of just a dumpster fire floating down the road this year, both kind of on and off the floor. It looks like a program that just has no trajectory. And so to see them kind of not necessarily look like to break out of that based on it, I think Ohio State just did not play near their best. I would say probably not even near their average. But this was it was an odd one to watch for sure. And I don't really know how to quantify that into the stats, but I mean, obviously shooting 3 of 25 from 3, not gonna do good. James Battle 1 of 8 from 3. Bruce Thornton 2 of 7 from 3. Then you got an 0 of 3, 0 of 1, 0 and 2, 0 and 2, 0 and 2. And at some point, those shots are going to go down. I don't think Ohio State was taking too many contested shots. I think they were getting pretty decent looks, but this was just kind of a game that Michigan just kind of held on. And obviously, you can't put it all of it on Ohio State. Obviously, Terrance Williams goes for 18. You get 20 and 15 from McDaniel, 15 from McDaniel, which I honestly didn't think Doug had a great game until I looked back at the stats just now and saw he had 15 on 50% shooting from 3. But this was just one of those games I think that Ohio State is kind of searching for finding themselves again. You guys mentioned that streak last year that kind of started around this time of year. It just feels like after non-conference and kind of looking into the bulk and the eye of Big Ten play, Ohio State just kind of floats away for a couple of weeks, and it's going to be very imperative for them, both as a program and as this team for this year specifically, to kind of find themselves and start, probably playing up to the level that people expect. I'll briefly touch on the Michigan side. I don't have a whole lot to say about Michigan. I kind of wrote them off pretty early on this year. And then once they did the whole Juwan Howard not coaching against Penn State at the Plestra, that fully checked me out on them this season. I don't know what's going on over there for that whole thing, but they came out. Obviously, they had the Fab Five back for the first time ever or something like that. So I think that probably amped them up a little bit, but I don't think Michigan fans are too invested in the season. And this was one of those weird games that just kind of came and went. And obviously Michigan comes out on top. But both of these programs are kind of on a teetering point. I think Michigan probably more so than Ohio State. Like you guys mentioned, I think Chris Holtmann definitely has the capacity to kind of turn this around. I think he's just going to have to, really nail this thing down and get his guys, back up to the level that we know they can. And time will tell, I guess.
Glad you mentioned the Fab Five. Did it feel like anybody else that it was almost like Juwan invited his buddies in to see him one last time?
100%. That's exactly what I thought. This felt like Jalen Rose texting the group going, hey, it's Joe-over. We need to get the boys back in town one last time.
I mean, it almost felt like he was like, hey guys, come in here and support me, and either it's gonna be the last time you ever see me. I think it was actually the first time the Fab Five had been all in there together.
I think so. That's what I saw.
But hey, come see me one more time, and maybe you'll help me save my job. I don't know, or something like that. But at the end of the day, it felt weird. Did you guys see Jalen Rose's Instagram photo before the game outside of a liquor store? No shame if you go to a liquor store, obviously, we all need to drink from time to time, I guess, but just an odd place for Jalen Rose to take a photo and post on Instagram. Brand, did you have any thoughts on the Fab Five there?
Yeah, I mean, that Michigan was playing like it was the Fab Five era, so shout out to that. But yeah, no thoughts for me. I mean, that era is over, just like Juwan's tenure as Michigan's head coach.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll have one more chance to send him out in Columbus, but who knows if that'll happen or not. And I want to touch on one more thing, and this is an Ohio State thing. And Dakota, I'd like your thoughts on this, and then Brant, you can share yours. But Bruce Thornton, I want to start off by saying I love Bruce. I think that Bruce is a very good player, but I think Bruce is pressing right now. He had the worst plus minus for Ohio State in this game. He had a minus 16. He only had one turnover, so it's not like he was, crazy or anything like that, but only 2 assists, 19 points. That's fantastic. But it doesn't, Dale Bonner had 3 assists in this game, and he played 13 minutes compared to Bruce Thornton's 38. I'm not saying that Bruce is selfish, because I don't think he is, but it feels like Bruce is like trying to take everything into his own hands. And I truly do feel like Bruce is feeling the pressure on Chris Holtmann and kind of almost putting that on his own shoulders. You hear him after the game, he was basically trying to defend Chris Holtmann to the fans. And it feels like he wants to not only play for himself, but for his entire team, for his coach, which is all great. But it almost just feels like he's pressing out there and feels like he has to do it all by himself. Dakota, do you sense that as well? What are your thoughts?
Oh, I don't think you can blame him. He's probably definitely Ohio State's best guard. And what do we talk about all the time is you need great guard play to win, college basketball. And when you, as, that guy, look around and go, all right, we're struggling. It's time. You got to get on my back, and I'll take you to the promised land. And obviously, maybe didn't get over the hump this time. But you can't blame a kid to look around, and you got to applaud him for, if this is the case, of looking around and going, all right, like, we're struggling. We got to go. And I'm going to be the guy to step up and try and do that. Does that usually lead to some pressing moments and maybe overextending yourself just a little bit? Potentially, yes. But if you want to take a long-term look at that, that's also the key to, these guys really taking that next step as his career continues. And I can't blame him. I think if anybody is capable of doing it, it's him. So,
yeah. You think the same thing, Brant? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, my thoughts are basketball is as much of a mental game as much as it is a physical game, almost even more a mental game, I'd say. And it does feel like Bruce is the number one guy that comes to mind when I think of players on the team who are taking kind of bad shots at times. And it feels like he's kind of in his own head. He feels the pressure, and he's trying to put the team on his back. But at the end of the day, he needs to go back to what he was doing at the start of the year, taking open shots when you have them, distributing, driving, and just being that more complete player.
Yeah. 2 for 7 in this one. I think if Bruce just starts shooting better, they win this game, and that's a big part of it. And Jamison Battle too. He hit like 3 or 4 3-pointers the last 2 or 3 games or something like that, and 1 for 8 in this one. So that was all of their 3-pointers. Rodney Gale went 0 for 3. Dale Bonner went 0 for 2. Oh, what were you going to say?
The Jamison Battle going 1 for 8 may have been my fault, actually, because Tim Miller from the Views from Shot podcast, he put out one of his banger bets, which is Jamison Battle to hit 3 threes. And of course, I had to take him up on that. I'll take the blame on that one. Sorry.
So I didn't jinx Dakota, but you jinxed the Buckeyes. So, well, we understand. So. Listen to the Big Ten Huddle. Please do like and subscribe. We appreciate that. If this was your first time listening, we are the Big Ten Huddle. We cover all things Big Ten football and basketball. We have a long episode every Sunday, Tuesday, and Wednesday night, all at 9 o'clock. So come in, check us out, get in the chat, let us know what you're thinking. We would love to have you join us and learn more about the Big Ten.